So, you're confused, you're constantly second guessing yourself. Why is that? This is probably because when emotionally unavailable individuals come into our lives, we end up feeling confused or constantly second guessing ourselves, our decisions, our emotions, our thoughts. And this is because emotionally unavailable people, they're masters at keeping you almost close enough. And an emotionally unavailable person is someone who struggles with or just flat out refuses to form deep emotional connections with people. And this could be due to fear, their own personal traumas, avoidance, or their own internal conflict. However, by the end of this video, you're going to learn 7 different tactics that emotionally unavailable people use in order to keep you hooked, in order to keep you almost close enough. So if that's interesting to you, make sure to subscribe and leave a comment with any questions or any comments you have down below. Let's get started. So the first tactic that emotionally unavailable individuals may use that you definitely want to look out for is something we call intermittent reinforcement. Essentially, this is just where inconsistent behaviors feel more rewarding than consistent ones. So if you're receiving consistent love, care, admiration, validation from individuals, then that is not going to mean as much for most people as inconsistent behaviors. So a rush of love, affection, care, validation, and then the complete opposite of that and a switch of a dime. And what happens is you may not even realize that this is happening, but you chase after those moments of validation and care and love and affection because you crave that and you don't know when it's going to come back or when it's going to go away. And so that is where the inconsistent rewards come in, and psychologically you get hooked. Versus that person who is consistently kind and caring and shows affection, and you do the same thing for them. It's a difference between healthy relationship dynamics and unhealthy ones. And remember, these different things can be used in relationships, yes, but also in family relationships, in friendships. So it's not just romantic ones. So you want to look out for this in different areas of your life. Let's go on to number 2, mixed signals and ambiguity. So they'll say one thing, but they'll do the other. And this again ties up with the inconsistency. So they share with you how much they really enjoy spending time with you or how close you guys are getting, but then they're radio silent and you haven't heard from them. Or they're consistent with reaching out to you, and then all of a sudden, once you're emotionally attached, they're nowhere to be found. They're skipping out on things. They're canceling last minute. You see where I'm going with this? There's inconsistency in their behavior that you found comfort in. You got to know them as a person who, let's say for instance, they showed up for you. Then all of a sudden, it just stopped. Once you felt like you were really in that friendship, once you felt like you were really into that romantic relationship. And what this does is this creates something we like to call cognitive dissonance. And this essentially makes you want to work harder in order to resolve the inconsistent behaviors, in order to justify their actions. So even though I know this isn't right, even though I know this doesn't feel good, the inconsistency, it's confusing to me, I'm still going to try to make light of it, or I'm still going to say, but it's only because they're going through a hard time, but it's only because we're just getting to know each other. If they're showing you inconsistency, once you start to get attached, that's a clear sign that they may be emotionally unavailable and using one of these tactics. So this video is to help you understand what these tactics look like. That way, when they happen, you're not left feeling confused or justifying their behavior through this cognitive dissonance. You're able to say, hey, I actually know what this pattern is. And now you have the other independence to say, I want to choose to deal with this and I'm going to, or I know what this is and I'm not going to choose to deal with this because I don't deserve this. And the biggest thing I'll say about this is that the possibility, well, maybe we could become this, well, maybe this could happen, well, maybe this could change. The possibility of something that's not even happening keeps you from focusing on what is actually going on. What are the physical, factual things that are happening? Well, fact, they were consistent with texting, for instance, or showing up, saying and showing through their actions that they care about me and that they want to develop this friendship or that they want to develop this relationship. And the biggest thing here to remember is that you become addicted almost to the possibility of what things could be instead of looking at the reality of how things are right now. And that will keep you, I've seen individuals years and years and years in situations that are unhealthy or become really toxic because of the latching on to the possibility, because of the latching on to the inconsistency and hoping for their good moments. I've seen their good side. I've seen their heart. they're just going through a hard time. That may be true, but in that process, you continue to receive unhealthy, toxic behaviors, and you are left dealing with the emotional impacts of this. Being in a relationship, a friendship, in a family relationship with someone or individuals who are emotionally unavailable takes a toll on us every single time. And so you have to also look at, well, how is this affecting me? And what do I need to do to protect myself as well? Number 3, strategic vulnerability. Now, being vulnerable in any relationship that is trying to go deeper than just acquaintance or co-working or surface level, any deeper forming relationship, part of that requires vulnerability. Now, the difference between healthy vulnerability and strategic vulnerability is in the name. There's a strategy behind it. There's a goal behind it. There's a reason why I'm going to be vulnerable about this with you, because I want something either out of you or out of me being vulnerable in this moment. It's never just I'm being vulnerable because it's genuine and you are doing the same thing. It's never that. So how can you tell that this is happening versus healthy vulnerability? So the way this usually happens is that they'll share deep, emotional, vulnerable moments with you. And this is to make you feel special, make you feel more connected to them. Wow, they're finally opening up to me. But this only happens occasionally. And you may start to feel like, oh my gosh, they actually trust me. They're opening up. And when this happens, you may overestimate the deep connection of the relationship. So you may feel like you guys are closer than you actually are. Now remember, someone who is emotionally unavailable because they just struggle with it or they choose to be emotionally unavailable, as soon as you become emotionally attached, they're done. Think about it similar to an avoidant attachment style. So in avoidant attachment styles, which if you don't know about attachment styles or you want to learn more about them, I have a whole playlist on that and I'll put it up here on the screen for you. Go watch it after this video. But within avoidant attachment styles, as soon as they sense that from you, even though they may want that, they have learned how to shut that part of themselves off, how to close that off, because it is a protective barrier for them. That's how they've learned to manage their own family relationships, their own friendships, previous relationships. And so they find that to be protective. Good. This is what works for me. They're used to it. And so they're going to continue to do it unless they realize it becomes a problem. I'm not able to form deep emotional connections with people and I want to work on that. So they start to work on that. If they're not working on it, then as soon as they sense that emotional closeness from you, they start to back away. And this leads me to point number 4, which is the push-pull dynamic. So they'll pull you in with closeness and warmth and all the things that you're wanting, right? Kindness, attention, being there for you, showing up, opening up vulnerably to you, different things like that, right? Once they start to do that, and then you inevitably start to get close to them, right? As soon as they sense that closeness from you, then that is when the push comes in. Then that's when they start to slowly back away and you feel it almost, or you see it in real time. So maybe they're consistent with showing up for you. And then as soon as you start to get close in the friendship or the relationship, all of a sudden they have excuses. They can't show up. Things are happening out of their control over and over and over again. That's factual. You can see that. It's not just something you sense. Now, you see their actions are inconsistent and then you start to feel some type of way about it. What's going on here? Well, that you didn't have these excuses before. You feel that dissonance. You feel that change. And what happens is that if this goes on for long enough, it creates a cycle of anxiety, confusion, obsessive thinking, because you're trying to understand what is actually going on here. Why is this happening? What is up with their behaviors? You're trying to understand them. You only know them so much because they're emotionally closed off. So you only know so much about them. So you spend a lot of time overthinking a lot of their actions and their behaviors. And then you start working overtime to sort of win them back or go back to that time where you felt that things were so great, instead of realizing the pattern may be unhealthy. The pattern is inconsistent. The pattern may turn in to toxicity if it hasn't already. Number 5, they make you work for the love, affection, and admiration. Now this can either be seen early on in the relationship after you're starting to get hooked, or years down the line, which could be confusing for some people because while they weren't always like this, maybe it is due to a season in their life. Maybe it is because of a transition that they're going through. And you start to justify. But I want you to remember, we're looking at the reality of how things are right now, and that's going to help you determine what's going on. So they make you work for the love and affection. So you may find that they're withholding love, admiration, validation, affection towards you unless you behave in the ways that they want you to. What happens is then internally you recognize, oh, when I do this, when I refrain from doing that, when I say this, then they're more available to me. So I need to behave and act and move in these ways. And it's usually in the ways that they want to. Now, why this can become unhealthy is because now you're operating on a people-pleasing level. Now you're taking on the role of being the fixer, maybe. And the relationship or the friendship, it ends up turning into a performance for their validation, a performance for their affection, for their approval. And a lot of times we do not recognize that this is happening in real time. Number 6, there is an idealization and then a distancing. And you can see that there's similarities in a lot of these points, right? Which is the push and pull dynamic, right? However, with this, they may idealize you or the friendship or the relationship and saying, wow, I've never had a friendship or a relationship like this. I've never met anybody like you. You're amazing. All these great things that would make anybody feel great about themselves. And then, where's the key here? As soon as you start to get attached emotionally, as soon as you start to develop a closer longing for them, then that's when they back away. That's when they create the distance. And that's where the confusion comes in for a lot of individuals. Rightfully so. If you're acting one way and I get to know that version of you, and then as soon as I start to get comfortable with you, as soon as I start to let my guard down, you're switching up. Anybody's going to feel confused by this. Anybody's going to feel manipulated by this. And now, if the emotionally unavailable individual is not meaning to behave in this way, if the emotionally unavailable individual doesn't recognize that this is a pattern that they're doing, hopefully, then you can give grace for that. Or they may be intentionally withdrawing and emotionally unavailable by choice. And if that's the case, then that is when this can become really unhealthy in the long run. So they put you on this pedestal, and then as soon as you're comfortable on that pedestal, they back off. And then you're left confused. Let's go to number 7. You may find that they blame their past or blame trauma for their reasoning for being emotionally distant. So, well, it's just my past was, I grew up, you know what I've been through, you know what my previous relationships were like, I don't have any friends because of this. All of these things can come about. And although those may be the facts, although that may be reality, every one of us, you, me, we all have a choice on how we choose to continue to live our lives and the choices we choose to make, whether that's choosing to not work on things or to work on them. And one of them is being emotionally unavailable. If you're recognizing this is a pattern that you take to every single friendship, relationship, family dynamics that you have, then it is up to you as an adult to say, do I want to work on this? If you do, therapy is going to be really helpful. Reading books on how to be more emotionally available, how to practice emotional intelligence, how to be emotionally connected with others and develop that, even if it's slowly. You can read books on that. You can watch more videos on different topics, such as how to decrease avoidant attachment styles in relationships. You can listen to different podcasts. You can talk to the people who are closest to you and have them give you a very objective viewpoint of how they see you. Because if they know you to some level, they will probably be able to tell you, listen, love you, got love for you, but this is how you are. And you're not like that in these situations, but in these situations, that's how you are. And hopefully you have someone in your life who is able to tell you that and call you out in love, but still give you that constructive criticism that we all need every once in a while. And remember that healing involves understanding that love and connection, this shouldn't feel confusing. And it definitely shouldn't feel conditional. So if you're finding that a lot of your friendships and your relationships are conditional, are confusing, I also want you to evaluate what are the relationships that I'm forming and how is it that I'm justifying either unhealthy behaviors from others, and what do I want to do about it now? So I hope something that I've shared with you today has struck a chord or has helped you make some sort of connection for you in order to develop healthier relationships and friendships in your life. If you have any questions for me, leave them down in the comments below. And if you have found something that you've learned or something interesting in this video, make sure to subscribe and like, and I will see you in the next video. Take care.